Well, hey everybody, how's it going out there in YouTube land? Well, guess what? Got a guest on the show now. I'm gonna make the introduction. This is Dave, and he's been driving from all the way out to Texas, and he's coming back now. Right? Is that the story?
Heading back. I was out in Texas at a Volkswagen camping event in my old bus, and then I thought I'd come by and see you, and then I'm heading my way up to Redding, California.
That's wonderful. That's really cool. Appreciate the reach out.
Thursdays
are a great day because, I do this, but it's also a free day, so I'm able to juggle my schedule and make some room and time, and it's worked out good.
Yeah, it really worked out. Timing was perfect, so
yeah.
I thought it worked all the way around.
So this is a real special treat. I don't usually have too many guests. I've had maybe a couple, but not very often. So when Dave reached out to me on the Facebook group and said he was going to be passing by, I'm like, absolutely. Why the heck not? So got some coffee going here. And I'm burning, as in honor of the city of Los Angeles, welcoming him to LA County. I got this wonderful globe recently off of eBay, city of LA, and my LA marked high-low. So I thought that would be a good lantern to burn. But I think Dave actually brought some things. He actually bought some things on the road. That's what we do. If we go on road trips, we hit antique stores, and then we try and find something that we don't have, or maybe something that we already have that might be better or worse, or parts, or whatever the case may be. But he did find some interesting things. You wanna share one of those two items there?
We're always on the hunt.
No, we are. It's true. It's true.
Whether we're just minding our business, on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or wherever, antique shops, garage sales, estate sales, you know the deal. But when I'm on the road, usually, I don't know about you, Robert, but do you find things get really picked over in your local area?
Oh, my local area is absolutely terrible. I can't find anything. There's one antique store.
Because I think they're all in here, Robert.
Well, I wish I could say that they were liberated locally, but no, there's one antique store out in the Inland Empire in Ontario called Treasures and Junk, Antiques, Treasures and Junk. And they have had some things ever so often. They've had... I got a Rayo 75 Hot Blast from there one time. It had the marked globe, and it was, it was very fairly priced, and so I got that there. And I did see a Deets crystal there once.
Nice.
It was really nice Deets crystal, and I already have one, so I turned on a local buddy. That would be Steve Young, if he's watching. Steve, I know you have the crystal, but he always wanted one, and it was a very fair price. I'm like, Steve, there's one at T&J. Get out here now. And so he went there first thing the next morning, and he camped out and waited till they opened, and he went in there and grabbed it. And it's a wonderful thing because I don't need to hoard these things. I have one, or sometimes two. I had two crystals. I had an SGNL and the Deets version, and I kept the Deets, but I sold the SGNL one to help buy something different and something even more spectacular. But anyways, that's what we do. Sometimes if we have something already, and we just pass on the word to another collector so they can have one as well. And it's, these things are just really getting harder and harder to find.
Absolutely. Just in the short time that I've been collecting, it only goes back about a year now for me, it seems like it's been getting harder just in that time.
Maybe
I'm wrong.
No, it's not. You're right. And it's funny because, there was a bit of an interest in tubular lanterns just because of decorators. And that was before the pandemic, the whole industrial look was very, very popular with decorators. So lanterns were kind of being bought at a little bit more of a premium at that time. And then when I started getting back into lanterns, because I've always kind of had a foot in that world a little bit here and there since I was very young. But in the late teens, I started wanting a square tube lantern. I wanted some certain pieces that I've seen online and whatnot. And so I started looking, and then I found a Deets Victor on eBay. I got it for $40, I thought that was pretty good because all the Deets Victors that were square tube that I found in antique stores in Arizona or other places, some of them were rusted out. They weren't worth $5, but they had a $100 bill on them because they're 19th century. And I'm like, well, okay, but the decorators were buying those things to put in rustic displays and finer homes or whatever. People were decorating with those things, and they were selling them for that price at one time. But now they're not, because nobody's really... The hobby has tapered off a bit, but the people that are passionate about these things have definitely stayed true, and the numbers are growing of people that buy them and fix them up or burn them, and all that is definitely increasing. Our group, the Tubular Lantern Collectors Group, that Madison Kirkman and Woody Kirkman, his father, operate on Facebook, that most of you are aware of or members of. We've really done some growing. There's a lot more members now than when I started back in 2019. So it's amazing to see the interest and the collectability increase, and sometimes it comes and goes, but everything has a season and a flow. But yeah, it's really hard to find some of the early stuff these days in good condition, or something that you would actually want to buy, and it's not a parts lantern, But let's see what you got. What did you find on the road?
You mentioned SGNL, so I guess I'll start with that.
Oh, okay.
So, a little context. I was out in Texas, and I was, browsing around. I actually picked up 3 lanterns when I was there. I got the Beacon 30.
Yes,
the Deets 30 Beacon.
Yeah, those are great.
And that has an interesting story, but we don't have that here right now, so we won't be talking about that.
Right.
You go down that rabbit hole.
Right.
But there was a seller selling 2 lanterns, and this is the SGNL square tube. So I don't know if the lighting's going to pick that up. Before you hold up, you can see the embossing on there.
Yeah, you can see it.
And actually, a moment ago, we had a really nice kind of amethyst globe in here we test fit, because it came with a globe that was too big.
Oh, right.
But Robert noticed something that I didn't know, because this is the first SGNL I had, and I saw this and I thought, wow, what a cool lift mechanism it has, and it actually works pretty well.
Yeah.
But Robert instantly said, no, this was homemade. And again, we'll hold it close to the camera where people can kind of get a sense for the fabrication on it. But not a bad idea. And talking to one of our friends, John, he was saying, Dave, that makes this lantern very unique.
It does.
So that's something to appreciate and to prize.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting because as I've gotten my chops in collecting tubulars, I've talked to a lot of guys, and certain collectors, long-term collectors like John Chittum and also John Morris and some of the other guys, they've definitely kind of left these farmer jobs as is. And I call it like a homebrew farmer job. I've seen lanterns that have been repaired by the previous owner or the original owner, and it actually adds to the story. It's more interesting. I've seen so many lanterns that are, restored beauty queens, and they are nice. They can be appreciated, of course. I'm not saying they shouldn't be, but something that has, say the original tab broke off, and they didn't want to repair it, they didn't want to solder it back on or whatever, so they just got this wire loop and put it in there, and it does the same thing, maybe even better for them. Maybe it works better because it's longer and doesn't get as hot when you're burning it, so if you want to lift the globe up to blow it out or whatever you want, this doesn't get as hot. So it might have been, in their mind, an improvement on the design. But at any rate, it works, and
they're not wrong. And actually, we were talking a moment ago about, okay, what do you do about condition? People have a lot of different ideas about what you should do with a lantern, and taking a look at this condition of this one, it's got only the lightest hint of rust on it at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call this really rust. I just think it's a nice oxidation, nice dark patina. I would not do a thing to this thing. I would absolutely just leave it exactly like it is. You have good solder, and this is right around 1890. So I was talking to Lantern Joe, and he said that square tubes came out right about 1890, and that makes sense. So you're going to see some patent dates on the draft tube. Sometimes they get worn off, especially on these ones with the friction and everything kind of rubs them down. But
the latest on this is 88.
Is it 88? That makes sense. Yeah. So that would probably be the lift wire or the metal solid stamped metal tab that they had on the lift wire, because this is SGNL. So that would be probably what that was pertaining to.
So they date stamp the tab?
No, they just date all the patents that are related to the elements of this particular lantern or similar models would have a list of patents when those were applied for.
Yeah.
So you start at the earliest to the latest, the latest at the bottom. And, sometimes we think, that's when the lantern was made or that's when the lantern's from. And no, that's when the patents were applied for. Yeah. But you see that the square lift came out right about 1890. And it was made all the way through 1893, 94, somewhere around there. And then they introduced the star. And it's funny because the star was a shared model between Deets and SGNL because SGNL and Deets were, they're together in a way. Deets had holdings with SGNL, and so they shared a lot. That's why they do the same style of air tubes. They had a lot of the same models. But the SGNL Star, there was a difference between the Deets and the SGNL Star. You have an idea what that difference was?
Between the Deets and the SGNL? A stamping pattern. I don't know.
No, actually, the Deets was a square lift, similar.
Uh-huh.
But the SGNL Star had a side lift like a Victor.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it's interesting how there was subtle little differences. Little differences. And I didn't know that until just this year. And I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
So there's something on this that I want to direct your attention to.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at condition, and the solders are overall pretty good. But I did a real gentle, I just held the top, and I could see it rocks just a little bit. I don't know if that shows up on camera at all.
Oh, the air tubes?
Yeah, so the solder here is separated right in that spot right there.
There's a little crack, yeah.
So I'd like to get in there, and I
yeah,
don't want to mess. I see somebody shaking their head off camera. So I would love to be able to restore that, but maybe just see if it functions okay.
Oh, well, that's the
if
thing.
If it burns great, just leave it as it is.
It would function just fine. I've had so many of these square tube liners with a small fracture in the air tubes, and it doesn't affect anything.
Yeah.
It would actually be way more trouble to repair it than to leave it alone.
And have it knock it all buggered up, right?
Right. It would. Yeah.
There are people that can do good solder jobs.
Yeah, and then
I'm
the thing is
that
it's the same here. I know those who are really capable of solder, but the problem with repairing this is you have old solder and you have the patina, which you would have to completely clean the whole area very well, and then prep it, and then but then you have this bright solder area.
Yeah.
It would just ruin the beauty of the piece. It is 130 plus years old.
Yeah.
I would just leave it exactly like it is. It's not compromised. It's in good shape. It's very sturdy because the other solder is holding it quite well. So yeah,
good advice.
I think you're good to go on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it looks like it should be oil tight. I don't see why it wouldn't be.
Yeah, we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah.
So thank you, because one of the things I was hoping to show to you and get some input, and you've given me some really great ideas.
I'm glad.
Should we look at the other one?
Yeah, absolutely. Bring it up.
So these I bought as a bundle.
Oh, wow.
And so, here's a Deets Monarch, an early Deets Monarch.
I'll say.
And we were looking at the patent dates earlier, and it's also, I think the latest patent date is 1904 for reference.
That jives very well.
Yeah.
So the difference between first and second generation of Monarch that I've learned is that the second generation had this little crease, this little groove in the draft tube for whatever reason. I don't know what that was for, but they had it. First generation didn't. It was smooth. I have one, and this is definitely right around 1934, right around there, and it also still wears the Deets number O tubular globe. So there's been some conversation about where these globes fit into. And this one's appropriate for this lantern, I would imagine, since it's got a lot of dirt and everything. It was in this lantern for a very long time, easily the original globe that it came with from the factory. But yeah, so up until, I want to say probably 1908 or 9, then the Deets Fit All came out, which looked like a number O style globe, which is this. It's the same exact style, but they changed the name from Deets number O tubular to Deets Fit All, and then they also came out with the lock knob in 1914. But this era, they would still be using this globe that came out in the mid to late 90s, and they kept using it all the way through the turn of the century. But yeah, this has got some nice, subtle surface rust, some nice, grunge and everything, and it just looks like someone blew it out 100 years ago and left it as is. I mean, you have a wick, it kind of tracks, could use a little help, but
right.
The crazy thing is sometimes I find these lanterns, I'm like, okay, I look over and I add some fuel and it burns. It just keeps working, it's a very simple design.
I've had that experience.
Yeah, and I love doing that because it's like, wow, it's the first time it's burned for who knows how long, So it's
decades probably.
Yeah, oh gosh, longer than we've both been alive, I'm sure. But yeah.
So good, thank you. And this one's really solid. All the solder joints are really good. And I love that deeply embossed globe.
Oh, it's a very strong embossing. It's just fantastic.
So here's something you were looking at earlier. There's something special on the bottom.
Oh yeah, check it out.
And if you look at that, This looks like it's been sitting in wet cement, so
Yeah.
it kind of has you wondering, like, if you had to speculate, what was the situation under which a
Yeah.
lantern would have wet cement
Probably
caked on the
used
bottom?
by a contractor and set it on a surface that was wet and wanted to keep people off of the wet cement or whatever. These were definitely used by tradesmen, jobbers, and tradesmen and contractors. And also utilities. So a lot of utilities and stuff would use these for construction areas and road closures and everything. And especially this one here, this 1940. This is a much later lantern. This high-low is from 1940, but they were still using kerosene in the same application as they did earlier.
I think there's even some cement.
There's always going to be a random Harley driving by in these videos.
Of course. It wouldn't be a real rough video if somebody was in the alley.
Exactly.
There's even cement up here on the deck.
Oh, there is
Yeah,
some,
so clearly we're going to take that all off and paint it, right?
Well, some have done just that. And
Not
that,
this guy.
No, I understand some people find this unattractive, or they say they want to, they in their restoration purposes and intentions, it's saving the piece. Well, I mean, we can all look at it different ways because we all have different aesthetics and appreciations. But for me, it's been this way probably for the last 60, 70 years. Yeah. Whenever it was last used, probably even longer than that. And it's not progressed. It's not changed really. And in the right circumstances, the right environment, they don't really deteriorate fast or anything. And they, case in point, I have that SGNL 1B Royal. It sat in a barn in upstate New York for who knows how long, and it's perfectly darkened and aged, and the inside of the fountain is like a mirror inside, and it works perfectly, but it just has this nice subtle distress. Now this end has some surface rust, but it's not chronic. It's not pitted.
No.
So
Works,
it's actually in pretty decent condition, and I think it tells a story, and that's the thing. The concrete under there, it has signs of being used, and it had a job to perform at one time. So it does wear its history, as I like to say. It wears its history very well, and it tells a story, and something that's prepared and cleaned and restored, if you will. It can be enjoyed, of course. I'm not saying it wouldn't be, but I think the history some of these things have is lost in that process. Mm-hmm. So
we're preserving it just as it is.
We're preserving it as is, and it would
package.
take very minimal efforts to get that wick to track properly, and it wouldn't disturb anything, and you'd be able to burn it and enjoy it just as is. I mean, sometimes I don't even wash the globe; I just leave it dirty like that, and it looks really cool. You've seen some of my stuff I've shared. I leave it as is, and it looks pretty neat, and I've gotten a lot of compliments on it. So try it sometime. It's not a bad thing. You can always go back and clean it if you don't. If you really don't like it, if it bothers you that much, you can. But I'm becoming more of a fan of seeing these things just like this. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I've bought things just like this to make sure they stay that way. Right. It's kind of a search and rescue mission at times.
Exactly.
But, but it's just funny because, we're caretakers. We're going to have these things for a certain amount of time. We're going to enjoy them, and then eventually they'll pass on to other hands. And it's preserved. I find this preservation. Now of course things can be missing, or there's more rust than you want to deal with, and so sometimes you do want to take measures to reverse the process and slow it down, right? There's extenuating circumstances. There's always an exception to every rule. Now this high-low, when I bought it, was painted black, and I stripped it, and it had a nice brown patina under it, and I did a subtle little WD-40 on it, and did my thing, very subtle, respectful thing to it, and now it looks like it's been used by the city since 1940, and it wears its history, and also now a marked globe. But I know you guys are probably thinking, like, how can he burn that globe? It's going to cancer up. Well, understandable. I rolled the dice one night. I came out here, kept it burning real low, and I sat right next to it, and I just kept scanning it, make sure nothing was happening to it, because sometimes you can hear it happen. I know I've heard it happen. And but I was ready to douse the fire if it started to cancer up, but it hasn't. It's very stable, and I've looked at the globe, and it shows signs of being used at one time in a lantern, so it's more or less just fine.
Question.
But, yes.
What is it about red globes that causes the devitrification or the cancering, the crisping?
Yeah.
Because I don't get that with clear globes.
Not as much. It does happen.
Okay.
I've seen it happen. I've had lanterns that had a cancer rough texture on certain clear globes.
Oh.
Or they'll get foggy and you can't get rid of it.
Okay.
It's a different way the glass is the formula and everything and where they were made. The ingredients sometimes were inferior, so sometimes the heat with the ingredients in the glass and everything just reacts with the heat. I've had a fits-all ruby globe that I got in it came in like a Paul's leader, and it was brand new. I think it was beautiful. Beautiful ruby fits-all globe, probably NOS or whatever. It was in great shape. I put it into my DWP marked high-low, and I lit it, and within less than a minute, that thing became fuzzy like a polar bear. It just went top to bottom, and I'm like,
did you hear it?
yes, I heard this tick, 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 and then it just started becoming fuzzy, like the layers of the glass started peeling up. I'm like, well, I'm glad I didn't pay anything for the globe. I bought the lantern, it just came in, and I'm like, well, okay, that stinks. But then I took some sandpaper and ran it under water, just kind of got it all smoothed out a little bit, and I put it back into that high-low, and it sits in the trunk of my car, and I use it when I go to car shows.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, that looks really cool. I'm like, kind of does, doesn't it? So,
making the best of it.
make the best of it. And then I've also come to the point where, say this globe, I love it, it's great, it's marked for the city, and ideally I shouldn't burn it if I want to keep it as nice as it was when I got it. However, if it does cancer, it would have happened in the era. I look at it that way too. So if it was hanging on a barricade for several weeks on a job site, it's very possible it would cancer up, and they didn't do anything about it. They'd probably throw it away and put a new globe in it or something. Or they just kept doing it until it fell apart and they couldn't use it anymore, or some kid stole it or something. I don't know. But, there's so many variables and so many different paths these things take through history. And it's always fun to think about and contemplate when we're enjoying these pieces, these relics of history. But yeah, late at night, sometimes I'll come out here and light this thing and enjoy some whiskey and just hear the crickets chirping and enjoy the peace and calmness out here. And it's very special. And that's kind of the piece that I find with these antique lanterns. And it's fun to have one of the Tubular members out here reaching out to me, wanting to come and meet me and see my collection and share some things with all of you guys. And it's a great community. And then for those new subscribers out there,
coming around to say hello.
Hey, this is John Chittum, another member on the Tubular group. Fantastic collection this man has. He was a little camera shy, but he wanted to come and say hi real quick. But anyways, we're having some fun, and we're going to wrap things up here because I think we have some lunch to get. But thanks for coming out.
Absolutely.
Thanks for reaching out, Dave.
My pleasure.
Absolutely.
Enjoyed it
great.
a lot.
Well, friends,
I learned a few things too.
Absolutely. That's what we do here. We always learn things, and we share things. So thanks again for tuning in, everybody. This is your weekly content, and hope you guys enjoyed it. So we'll see you next week at the same time, and I will be doing a video next week on collectible lanterns and where to start and the best lanterns to start with at a reasonable price point. So with that being said, hang tight. I want to answer your questions from the comments that I've been reading, and we'll go from there next week on Thursday. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Sit, boo-boo, sit. Good dog.